I'm so interested in seeing what him and Quinn Ewers do this year. There's been so much hype.
We should have a pretty dangerous running back in Blake Corum.
Maryland's gone. Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
A little too backyard football is
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday. And if it's Tuesday, you know I got to be with my guy, host of Restoring the Roar, Alex Loosemore. What up, Alex?
not too much, man. So excited for the milestone we've hit, getting closer and closer. Not as excited to talk about the big news that came out the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And it's a bad look on the football world in general, but especially for Northwestern.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I gotta say, yeah, we're gonna talk about it just a little bit, but I don't know. I don't think I'm alone in this, but I'm very surprised at what the story that we're hearing coming from this particular guy. You know?
Yeah, I did not expect that from him and his program at all.
Yeah, so we will definitely get into that. But like my guy Alex said, we have hit a milestone. We are under 50 days until college football returns. Ladies and gentlemen, we are starting to see more and more about the intros in college football, about the players. College football, the Heisman hype, everything is becoming more real. And Alex, I could smell the grass, Alex. I'm smelling it.
Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, when I was still playing, 2 weeks from now, we're starting that fall camp.
Right.
So, and they're not far behind that. They're right around that time too. So we're getting close to those guys stepping back on the field, putting the pads on, and hitting again. Like this, we're right there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. I know you feel the exact same way.
So excited.
Woo. Let's get into it. But hey, like I said, we said there, college football is right around the corner. What's up, Colin? Saying 45 days, baby. Yes, sir. Hey, and it's right around the corner. So we're really starting to get a feel of what's going on. And hey, we alluded to it earlier. If you're a Northwestern fan, I feel for you. Yeah. And I've even heard some talk of potential the death penalty, like some serious issue. I don't know if it's going to go that extreme, but nonetheless, this is still a crazy issue. Those of you who don't know, Northwestern fires their coach today, Pat Fitzgerald, amid hazing allegations. Alex, what does this mean for Northwestern this year?
It means this year you can write it off already for Northwestern. You fire your coach a month before you're supposed to be back on the field for fall camp. The stories that are going on around that, there's already division in the locker room. There's some players back in Fitzgerald. There's some that obviously aren't. This couldn't be worse for Northwestern right now, not to mention what this does for recruiting.
Yeah.
Any recruits you probably had locked up for 2024 and beyond are probably backing out. Right. What does this mean for coaching? Who's taking over? Are they interim? Are they permanent? Like this has heavy implications, not just for this year for Northwestern, but years to come, especially if that death penalty comes, you can write them off for probably 5-10 years at least.
Right.
This is not good for the purple and white.
Yeah, it really, like we said earlier, I mean, it's baffling. I mean, when you sit there and think of quality programs from quality coaches, Northwestern is one of those programs. It's a great academic institution, but also Pat Fitzgerald. I mean, when he played in the night, this guy was a monster. He was one of those guys that got you hyped up about playing and getting in it. And then to see him coach and to see what he's done at Northwestern, a program that, I'm sorry, you know this a little better than I would, but they're not known for being a powerhouse. You know what I mean?
Not the slightest.
Right. I could think of maybe 2 or 3 years. I think it was 2006 was it, where they went only had one loss or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah, they were really good for a couple of years. And I mean, you look at it, it was the same thing a couple of years ago where they were in the Big Ten championship game going toe-to-toe with an Ohio State. And then it just comes crashing down again.
Yeah.
And that's what it is with Northwestern. It's tough to get people to go play there. Because of the conference you're in and the powerhouses that are already there. You look at that division too, you got to go up against Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, some of those teams. Now, well, we're getting rid of divisions, but now you add in a USC and UCLA on top of Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. That's tough asking for Northwestern to try and compete in that. And Fitzgerald had done that a couple of years here, a couple of years there. And that's more than most people have done in years.
Yeah, absolutely. So, unfortunately, this definitely might spell doom for this program. Kat said, love the MSU background. I created it, Kat. That's the only way it got up there. Johnny Dean said the whole shower stuff sounds way too familiar. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're not going to too in depth, but it was about hazing. Primarily around the underclassmen and some of the things that they would kind of have these guys do. Again, we don't need to kind of get into it. Definitely read the article and dive into it. But it's really hard to believe that this program, it just baffles me. But look, I was talking to you about this before. I mean, we've both played football for a good number of years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever experienced any kind of hazing? I mean, maybe not to this level, but I mean, anything?
I wouldn't call any of the stuff we did hazing. It was just kind of understood everywhere I went. Rookies kind of, and it was rookie jobs essentially. You grabbed the bags out of the shed. You set up the field. You took the field down at the end of practice. You carried shoulder pads for the vets. There was stuff like that. The furthest we went as hazing was rookie parties where you had rookies drink a little more than they should have. That was as far as it went. We never did anything to the level of hazing at all.
Yeah. And that to me, we had the same thing. I mean, you might have had freshmen, beat up day, or you might have had them, have to carry your bags. Same exact thing you were saying. But a lot of that stuff was older siblings on the team that mainly picked on their siblings or their siblings' friends or things like that. People that they knew, but nothing to the extreme that we're hearing about in the story.
No, nothing abusive, nothing harassing, anything like that. It was a thing where if somebody said, hey, I don't want to do this, hey, I'm not okay with it, okay, and that was the end of it. There was a line and you didn't cross it.
Right. And I think something that you said to me off camera, it rings true, is that, when you do that, I mean, I guess some of these institutions is okay, but when you do that, at least in our situation, that could mess with kind of the bonding and the unity of the team. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing you want. You don't want one of these younger guys that could potentially contribute to your team to kind of feel uncomfortable or leave, God forbid, because of whatever this stuff is. So I don't know.
Well, and that's such a big part. At the end of the day, you're all one team. So why would you want to divide it in any way? Why would you want to pick on a player, harass a player, assault a player? You're all working towards the same goal, or you're supposed to be.
Right.
And that's just never crossed any of the minds of the people I've been on a team with, at least to my knowledge.
Right. So that's, terrible to hear. It is not uncommon. Let's be very true. It happens.
It's very common. Yeah.
Right. So, this is not just the first and it won't be the last. Colin says, was there a buyout or did they or just don't let the door split shit type thing? I'm not sure if there's buyout. I do know that there was an article that came out today talking about that Fitzgerald potentially was going to, see if maybe there was something having to do with a clause in his contract, maybe, where, with early termination, something like that, where you can't do. Have you heard anything like that?
I wonder if almost I hadn't heard about it till you mentioned it right before the show, but I wonder if it's almost something like where they use this as we don't have to pay you a dime, get out.
Right.
And if he's looking to see if maybe they do still have to pay him, or maybe it's like breach of contract.
Breach of contract.
That would be the only thing I could think of where they would still have to buy him out. But yeah, I don't see any other potential for a breach of contract.
Right. So, hey, look, it's going to be interesting. I'm sure there will be more stories to come about this.
Oh, yeah.
Colin had a point earlier where he was saying, this soon, like they didn't waste any time getting him out there. You know what I mean? We just heard the stories about stuff going on not too long ago, and then all of a sudden he got the axe. So
it was a 2-day suspension to start, or 2-game suspension to start.
Yeah.
And then there was more that came out, and it was just, you're gone. Like there was nothing, no hesitation. I agree with Johnny. If you're Pat Fitzgerald, you hide in the shadows for now. You get your name out of the limelight because it's there for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Which sucks because he was one of my favorite coaches just in college football. I loved watching him and his team go.
Right.
And it just sucks that all that was apparently going on behind the scenes, and it ruins what was a good thing.
Right. So who knows? Hopefully, I mean, you can't take away the fact that he was a great coach. Can't take away the fact that he brought a team that is not used to being relevant in the Big Ten. He brought them to relevance. So definitely give him credit for that. But listen, this has been happening a lot. We talk about this case. Kat and I were talking about West Virginia's basketball coach, Huggins. You know what I mean? He just put in a statement out today. Guys, these coaches, I know in their universities, in those areas, they might have this air of superiority, of being an untouchable, but they can't be touched. I'm telling you, you mess up. It just takes one of these situations, and they don't hesitate.
Yeah, especially when they're nowadays where they're getting paid all that money. The schools aren't going to hesitate. They're going to be like, one slip up, you're gone. We can get somebody cheaper. Looking at it that way too.
Right. And let's see, you never know. I mean, he's the first to go, but we don't know. Maybe there's other people, because you can't just tell me he was the only one in that locker room that.
Oh, they're in a clean house.
I'm about to say, yeah, because that's when you have stuff like this happening. Oh yeah, they're gonna definitely do.
And I imagine it's not just gonna be coaches. I think there's gonna be players that are removed from the team, and there's gonna be a whole lot of stuff happen, even if they don't get the official death penalty like SMU got. It might be very similar just by them cleaning house. It's gonna get real ugly real quick, even uglier than it's already gotten.
And as Colin's saying, a Penn State's type situation.
It might be.
It might be. So. We'll definitely see, but look, we have to move on real quick. And something, as we get closer to this season, we start to really dive into who's going to be playing, who's going to be making waves. Something that we find out, randomly we might see, this guy is a great player, and then he's got a son that's playing, and we're always excited to see it. But right now, there's a number of older players that have sons, and prominent players that have sons that are playing right now. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. We had to talk about it. It's all in the name. College legends who have a son playing. The obvious, the Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
We know about Senior and Junior. We know how they are. Emmitt Smith, his son EJ is playing at Stanford. Jason Taylor, his son Mason, is playing at LSU. I mean, let me ask you this first. You have a famous father. You have a famous last name. Does that guarantee success in college?
If anything, I think it just adds more pressure to you because when you have that last name, or if you're in the case of Marvin Harrison Jr., the exact same name as your father, and people know what they've done before you, they're expecting you to be great right off the bat.
Immediately.
So there's nothing but pressure there. But there is that saying, pressure creates diamonds. Yes. Obviously, some of these guys are diamonds right there. I think it's nothing but expectations. I don't think it breeds greatness right off the bat because there's been multiple times where we've seen people's kids just completely flop. Like, I hate to use this one because it just passed recently, but Ray Lewis's kid was just kind of average in college and struggled to get on the field when he played. And it's just, you've got phenomenal people like that where they crumbled under the pressure. They just weren't as good as what they were expected to be, whatever the reason is. But you've got these guys here that are balling out on the brightest stage.
Yeah. And that's huge. And like you said, expectations are a big deal. The pressure is a big deal. I could think of two guys in my mind in the recent past that came, from famous last names. One was Joe Montana's son, who ended up going to Tulane, and another was Barry Sanders' son, who ended up going to, I believe, Stanford. And I was, when I found out that they were in college, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually going to get to see the offspring of a legend. And I'm going to tell you something. I was sorely disappointed. I'll put it this way. A lot of people didn't even know Joe Montana's son was even at Tulane. This guy, he wasn't a starter. He was second or third string. And this is before Tulane kind of had their recent resurgence. It wasn't the same. And same with Barry Sanders' son at Stanford. I felt for him, man. I felt for him because that's such a high name to live up to. But oof.
Yeah, it can definitely be rough sometimes.
Yeah. And he said, do you think there's entitlement? I don't know. I don't think there's entitlement. I mean, you might have had a lot of the best stuff coming up, but still, there's this thought that, okay, your father was amazing, so whatever he had in him, that secret sauce, you're gonna have that in you. But it doesn't always work that way. It's just not. It's different era sometimes different position. Sometimes it's just once in a lifetime type situation that you just can't duplicate.
Yeah, and I mean the entitlement and all that there is just, it's based on how they were brought up. It's how they are as a person. If they ended up being spoiled and everything and not shown how to be a proper human being, then yeah, there's obviously going to be that entitlement there. But yeah, Johnny puts it perfectly. If you go in just thinking you're going to get the whole world, you will get humbled real quick on that field.
Very quickly. Yeah, absolutely. So look at the bottom here. If you see, obviously I have the names, Marvin Harrison and his son, Emmitt Smith, and his son, Jason Taylor, and his son. On the bottom, if you see, I'm scrolling names of a bunch of other prominent father-son duos. The first being Jerry Rice and his son, Brendan Rice at USC, Edgerrin James and Eden James. Eden James plays at Howard. Frank Gore Sr. and Frank Gore Jr. He plays at Southern Miss. And then Deion Sanders with Shador and Shiloh. They play at Colorado. And Chad Pennington with his son, Cole Pennington, playing at Marshall. And, I mean, I think we mentioned it. One of the things that immediately, first thing that catches your eye, obviously, is Jerry Rice, Brendan Rice. Because it's like another, what we're talking about, Montana, his son, Barry, his son. Now you have, not even arguably, most consensus says Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time. Everybody is saying that, right? So obviously, when you see now his son coming out, I mean, there's an excitement level there, man. He had over 500 yards receiving in a very potent offense, and he's playing with the defending Heisman Trophy winner. But can we, in fairness, can we expect that from him to be as great as his father, or at least a semblance of that?
Maybe a semblance of that, but asking to be Jerry Rice is an impossible task. Nobody is Jerry Rice. He is one of one. But Brendan Rice can go make his own name. He can wear that Rice on the back of his jersey. He can have that last name. But having Caleb Williams throwing him the ball and essentially the majority of the targets up for grabs with Jordan Addison being out the door, he's got an opportunity to make a name for himself here. And on one of the biggest stages in Southern Cal for the Trojans there, he's absolutely got a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm excited to see. I want to look at the tape. I want to just start following him. And like you said, the opportunity is right in front of him. Talk to me about some other names on here. Obviously, Frank Gore Jr. is a spitting image, in our opinion, of his dad. Tough nose, bowling ball, but actually has a lot more ingenuity. Like he can do a lot more things. I've seen him pass. I've seen him play wide out. Like, is he the best on this list as far as guys that actually have a chance to succeed?
I mean, if we're throwing Marvin Harrison Jr. out the door, I feel like that one's pretty obvious. Yeah. I mean, you got Frank Gore Jr., who, like we were talking about before the show, over 300 yards in the bowl game, like balled out, like you just said, can do it all. He's essentially a modern version of Frank Gore. Senior. I mean, we just talked about Brendan Rice. For me, though, the one I'm looking at is Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
We saw him light up the field in Div 3. Now it is Div 3, but you still got good talent down there. Let's see what he does on Div 1 or on the Div 1 stage at Colorado. They brought in a lot of talent, but it's still, the cupboards are still pretty bare.
Yep.
If they want to be successful, he's going to have to do a lot of it on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So let's see what he can do. If he has a really good year, he might be in that Heisman conversation.
Yeah, he can do it. I mean, he's going to need a lot. He's going to need a lot. And Johnny was saying, didn't Shiloh? I thought Shiloh didn't make the cut. I heard he also might have transferred. Have you heard?
I'll see if I can find anything. I haven't heard anything. I'll see if I can find something.
I thought I heard something about Shiloh either leaving or maybe he did make cut. So I'm not sure. Here's Ben Cornett, obviously in the comments. Where is Drake May's son playing at? I don't know. Where's Jordan Travis playing? Because Drake May's daddy. Let's go, baby.
Oh, okay.
Bang, bang. All right. But but for me, I definitely love that. Shedeur Sanders, he has to prove something, in my opinion, making the transition from HBCU to D1 ball. That's definitely a big thing. Obviously, somebody we'll talk about today, Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. They are on the rise with Jaden Daniels, and he can definitely get some attention this year. But for me, the main guy is going to be Brendan Rice. I really just want to see what he can do. I mean, you literally have a coach that is a lover of the passing game. You have a quarterback that was the Heisman Trophy winner that's trying to go up for this number one pick. You're going to be throwing all over the place, and you are going to have so many opportunities. Brendan Rice, that's the one. That's the one I got to keep my eyes on. And obviously Shedeur, Frank Gore, some of these other guys. I want to ask about Cole Pennington. Chad, I love Chad. Chad Pennington had Randy Moss in college. So, let's not. And I know you have a certain feeling about Mr. Pennington and the years he did. Did he come to you guys at all? Or no, it was Harrington. That was
Harrington. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Really good college quarterback.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I want to see if he can do anything at Marshall, if he's just going to be kind of what his dad was in the pros. Like, I'm trying to be nice. Misador, what's going on, man? We talked about Pat. That's how we opened the show with Pat Fitzgerald. A crazy, crazy situation. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and we're expecting more fallout at Northwestern.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So crazy, and just reading those stories. What did Johnny say? I just got a message here that said hitting the laugh base is too much against community standards. What? Oh my goodness.
That's Facebook for you.
Well, there you go. There you go. So, hey, it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned to this. Obviously, if this isn't father-son, but Arch Manning, famous son or, family member to a Hall of Fame family. We all want to see if he's going to get in this year, as Quinn Ewers is going to continue to be QB out in Texas.
Quinn's QB1.
Yeah. Now, what we know is Hudson Card got an opportunity to come in because Quinn was hurt, and that got him a job elsewhere. So let's see if Quinn
I think Arch is going to get a lot of mop-up duty because I think that offense will run the score up on some teams.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be pretty clear in the depth chart who's 1 and who's 2. And then I think Quinn's gone after this year, going to the NFL, and then it's Arch's team for the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, Texas is they're already looking at the early conference previews, rankings, and everything, and they got Texas. They're thinking they're going to be number 1. Them and maybe Kansas State.
I agree with that. Kansas State is going to be interesting to see because they lost their quarterback, right? Martinez is in the NFL, so and not to mention Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah.
So your 2 main components of that offense are gone. So they're going to have some heavy replacing to do there. Texas, outside of Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, didn't lose much. Now, that's 2 big losses.
Mm-hmm.
And DeMarvion Overshone on the defense as well. But most of that team is still intact. So I do think Texas, look out for Kansas as a sleeper there. You still got Jalen Daniels coming back. They went toe-to-toe with Arkansas in the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sleeper team. That might be this year's TCU in that conference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Watch out for that. Suggestion for a possible future segment. Brothers, who's better? I like that.
I do too.
Oh, yeah. We might have to take a look at that for sure. Oh, man. Wow. Texas had their shot last year. Not going to happen this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But look, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and move on. Hey, those of you that have been with us, in this offseason, we've been breaking down position by position who are going to be the guys that are going to be returning, the starters, the stars. We've gone over a quarterback. We've gone over running back, wide receiver, kind of giving you our top 5 and some sleepers. This week, we are back to cover tight ends, top returning tight ends in 2023. Colin, I'm glad you're here because I know you're going to love this segment.
Yeah.
Because it is basically one and the rest.
It's the same as the wide receivers. It's Brock Bowers or Marvin Harrison. And, who else?
Who else?
It's clear, solid number 1s. But who's lurking behind them?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So, let's get into it. Let's dive right into it. Our top 5 returning tight ends of 2023. Alex, do you want to go first? You want me to get it?
Sure, I'll go first. I'll go 5 to 1. I've got Jaheim Bell of Florida State at 5. I think he's a very solid tight end, can kind of do it all. And with Jordan Travis throwing him the ball. Now, the only thing is there's a lot of wide receivers there this year, too. So he might not get the target share of some of these other guys, but he's a very solid tight end, somebody to take a look at. Number 4 for me is Brevin Spann-Ford of Minnesota. Another very solid guy. There's a lot of guys that can kind of do it all. They're not necessarily great at anything, but they're good at everything.
Yep.
Jatavion Sanders of Texas is my number 3. He's kind of the same thing.
Yep.
Number 1 and 2 for me, both from the SEC. They're standout receiving guys now. Obviously, Brock Bowers Loves to block. He's a solid blocker. He can do it all. He's clear, far and away number one. Number two for me is Caden Prescorn, though, from Ole Miss.
Ooh, okay.
Very good receiving threat. Jackson darts back to throw him the ball. I think he could have a very big year. I'm excited to see what he does for Ole Miss.
Oh, I love that. So, obviously, my one is right on board with you with Brock Bowers. I don't know that. I mean, Michael Mayer was great last year, but I don't know that you have somebody that is so separated from the rest of the field like you have in Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers could be your number one tight end or your number one wide receiver, and he's proven that time and time again. He can break it. He could break a game wide open. I look back at the Kent State game, I think it was, where they were struggling on offense, and they ran a jet sweep to Brock Bowers.
Sweep.
Yeah, and he took it 70-plus yards for a touchdown. You know, and he was that.
I don't think I've ever seen a tight end that fast.
No, right. He was the only real offense in early in that game because they were struggling. So you have to put him up there at number one. For me, I thought as far as with best, I thought position and fit were what I was looking for. And Brevin Spanford, like you were talking about, I have him up here at 2. And the reason is in that offense, you know you're running the ball, but he has the ability to take the top off, and he has the ability to. It's a deceptive force there because you're sitting here, and he's a great blocker, but he's also it kind of makes the team think, oh, wait a minute, here we go, they're running. You can't tell, he's coming in, so we're passing the ball. You don't know what's going to happen, and he in that offense, I think, just is a perfect fit. Number 3, Jatavion Sanders out of Texas, again. In the offense, he's a top 15 recruit, but him with Quinn Ewers and how dynamic that offense is going to be. Now that they don't have both Rashawn Johnson and the great one, Bijan Robinson, I think they're going to be leaning a little bit more on that passing game, and Ewers is going to like to throw it around. We've got Worthy, now you got Sanders, so I'm loving that one. 4 for me is Jaheim Bell. This one, I love the QB combination with Bell. We know what Bell can do, and really underutilized in South Carolina. Now he's at Florida State with Jordan Travis. We know the year that we're expecting from Jordan Travis, having this kind of a physical freak, this kind of a weapon. Oh man, I think this is going to open things wide open for them. And then I'm going to keep with that top quarterback, solid weapon. I'm sticking in North Carolina. Bryson Nesbitt, he's a sophomore this year, playing with Drake May. Honestly, I think this guy's going to have a breakout year, mainly because a lot of our weapons and Antoine Green and Josh Downs both went to the league. Those are both of Drake May's main guys. Bryson Nesbitt was a freshman and had a breakout season last year, almost 12 yards a catch. This guy, I think he has what it takes. I think him working with that stud in Drake May, I think that's definitely going to pay dividends for them, my guy. So
yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Johnny said, I think if it weren't for these shows, Alex Usworth's head would explode with all the knowledge. What's up, Jason? Never agree with Alex. Wow. Said he runs kind of odd. My behind ain't getting in front of him though. Yeah, no, I understand.
I'm getting in front of him to block, but it's soon passing me. Like that's
It will be Nesbitt's last year with May unless she goes to Tampa with. Oh my goodness, this whole Tampa nonsense. We're killing it right now. But he's got tons of uses now stuff there as well.
Yeah,
he just knows everything. All right, knows it all.
I won't go that far, but.
So, and you saw most of our list are fairly the same. But let's go down there. Let's see. Who are some guys that maybe didn't make the top 5 but still are quality tight ends coming back?
I mean, I'm kind of looking here at guys that have really good quarterbacks and guys that are kind of taking over some roles that are wide open for the taking now. For me, the top sleeper guy is Brant. I think it's Keith, how you say his last name, or Kewith, from Utah.
Utah, right.
You've got Cam Rising there going into his last year. So, I mean, this is a guy that could have a big-time season. I mean, you've got, where was it? Mason Fairchild of Kansas. I was talking earlier about Jalen Daniels, sorry. Phenomenal season at quarterback. Future Lions first-round picks. Yeah, the Lions always draft tight ends. And then my other one, I had it here. Marquise Gums from Arkansas.
Okay.
You've got KJ Jefferson there. Yes, he runs a lot, but they do still like to throw the ball. This could be a solid receiving threat for them.
Oh, I love that. My couple, we mentioned one of these guys earlier, Mason Taylor, out of LSU. Yep. I think, I want to see what he's got because of the pedigree, but with that offense, they really love their tight end. So I think that's going to be interesting. I'm going to definitely follow him. Your guy, the guy you guys used to have, Eric All. He's now in Iowa with your old quarterback. So it's like we talk about combinations. He knows him. He's comfortable with him. So they love Iowa. What is Iowa good at? Defense, special teams, and offensive line and tight ends and things of that nature. So
everything but the quarterback and receivers.
Right. Exactly. So I'm definitely seeing that just because of the familiarity. And then a guy that went to Nebraska that played at Georgia, Eric Gilbert. His first year, I think he was freshman, SEC freshman player of the year or All-American or something to that effect. Got hurt his next year. Yeah, got hurt that next year. It just never was the same with all those weapons at Georgia. Couldn't really find his footing. Now going to Nebraska, we know Matt Rule's over there. They got a whole new lease on life. I want to see if he could turn it up for him and get something going. So that's somebody that's a sleeper for me, for real.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I forgot about Eric Gilbert.
Yeah. So I want to see if he can finally get his footing right, and he'll definitely have the opportunity there in Nebraska. So Johnny said, Jason, you should name yourself Alex Bia. He said wife wouldn't let me. Yeah, buddy. So, hey, and look, we're gonna see kind of how these tight ends play. I did want to ask you. We just came off of a draft where we had, what did we say, 15 tight ends taken, 15 or 16,
something like that. Yeah, it was a big number.
Yeah, definitely double digits, and a good amount of tight ends taken before. I think before around the fourth round, like before that, first, second, third. So we know what Brock Bowers is going to do. I think maybe he might be one of the only ones on here that's a bona fide first round pick.
He's easily top 10.
Well, so I
think he's a top 10 pick.
But outside of that, does this list compare? I mean, I know a lot of these guys might not be going to the pros because a lot of these guys are a little bit younger. But how does this list compare to the crop that came out last year?
I think the overall talent is probably better, but like you said, some of these guys are too young to come out or might stay for their senior season, whatever the reason's going to be. But I don't think we'll have as good a draft class, but I think this group of college kids is better than last year's.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, as we see in the NFL, there's definitely been a necessity to have a really good tight end, a game breaker. You see what Kelsey's been doing, Kittle at San Francisco, Andrews with the Ravens. You have a number of these guys now taking over games. Pitts, we saw what a stud he was at Florida, got himself drafted by Atlanta pretty high. Things haven't necessarily panned out necessarily because of the quarterback. He hadn't been able to get on page with that, but still he is a threat. But when you think about a Brock Bowers, when you think about a guy like that, that's somebody that you could instantly bring him in and he can be that guy for you.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. And I wonder, when's the last time there's been this much hype over a tight end like that? Was it Pitts?
No, this is beyond Pitts.
That's what I was thinking.
It's not close. That's a tough one because when you look at the majority of the guys that are in the league now, Kelsey, Kittle, all them, they were all 3rd, 4th round picks. Right. Hawkinson was a 1st rounder, but not the kind of attention that Bowers has been getting his entire college career.
Right. I'm thinking maybe Jimmy Graham, but in college, I don't think Jimmy Graham was that lethal.
He's a basketball guy for the majority of his Miami career, yeah.
And the rest of that team was stacked. So
I don't know that really we've had a guy with the attention that Brock Bowers has gotten.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. I honestly can't.
Yeah. Colin, this will not be happening. Philly has a few more positions to fill.
Yeah. No, unless Philly trades up for it. Bowers might go top 5.
Yeah. If he stays healthy.
And I mean, you've got realistically, there's a scenario where Arizona ends up with 2 top 5 picks.
Ooh.
You're not going to be able to trade Kyler Murray with that contract. It's the same reason the Rams couldn't move on from Stafford this offseason. Could they spend 2 top picks on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brock Bowers and load up that offense?
Wow.
Give Kyler Murray some legit weapons? They built the offensive line in this past year's draft.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be in that position. They're not going to – they'll definitely be in that top 5.
Yeah. Like that's a very realistic scenario. I mean, a lot of those teams that are up there, if they miss out on the quarterback, you could take a guy like Bowers if Harrison's already gone. That top of the draft next year is going to be so interesting because you got the elite offensive linemen, the elite edge rushers, all those guys that typically go top 5, 10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it'll be missing one player. It'll be missing Mr. Drake May. He'll be in college one more year.
No, he will
win it all. To win it all in 2024. Let's go. I got it.
I guess we can dream. I guess we can dream. But
let's get it. Yeah. So, hey, ladies and gentlemen, definitely pay attention. These tight ends, it's becoming a more of a prominent position. Everybody wants a tight end, and they're starting to like really break it out in college. No, Johnny Dean, I will not stop it. All right, you already.
Well, here's the thing: you stop it. You stop it with him coming back to North Carolina, and Johnny, you stop it with him going to Tampa because neither of them are happening.
Not happening. He's definitely not going there. They're not going to be bad. But look, we'll talk about NFL or another show. Look, we got to move on. We appreciate you guys sitting here with us. Just another show announcement for those of you that like driving in cars or have stories of cars or love road trips or hate traffic, whatever the scenario is, you're going to want to tune in right after this show. Myself, my guy, Mr. Johnny Dean, talking about Tales from the Driver's Side, where we kind of just give you our 2 cents about maybe your road trip, maybe your, road trip partners, favorite snacks, what do we like? Do we like to speed or do we like to kind of just check the scenic view, cops, whatever it is? Today, we're going to be talking about other drivers, not so much road rage, but other drivers and, hey, some of our pet peeves, like when a guy has a drop top sports car and is driving 25 miles an hour. I got a problem with that.
No.
I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Speed up, fella.
That's an issue.
Come on.
That is an issue.
But look, we have to move on. We are going to go to something I know all of you guys like. We are going to do a little update, a mascot update. Yeah, buddy, we are ready to do the mascot update, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not know, we have been doing a mascot challenge that started with, I believe,
48 teams.
48 teams. We brought it all the way down. We are now in the Elite 8, going towards the Final 4. You guys picked them. You voted on them. Now, Alex, let's see who's going to the dance, man.
All right, well, we'll start with that SEC matchup in the top left bracket. We've got Mike the Tiger of LSU versus Harry and Uga of Georgia. This one was not close. It was 9-2 in favor of Harry and Uga. So Harry and Uga, just like Georgia the last few years, is Final Four bound. In the bottom left bracket, we've got Goldie the Gopher versus Sebastian the Ibis. Minnesota versus Miami. And this one kind of surprised me, but Goldie took the win 6-4 over Sebastian. Okay. So Goldie Gopher of Minnesota is Final Four bound going against Harry and Uga. So I feel like that one's going to be a little ugly.
Yeah.
Harry and Uga, you're welcome for the nice walk to the finals there. Right. On the other side, the Cinderella story has ended. Testudo could not get by Chief Osceola and Renegade. It was closer than I thought, though. Yeah. It was only 7-4. Okay. So only a difference of 3 votes. But Testudo Cinderella story, like Loyola Chicago, like St. Peter's, it came to an end just a little bit too early. And in the bottom right side to face Osceola in the Final Four, Sparty, Pistol Pete. Sparty's moving on. They are Final Four bound.
Let's go.
They beat Pistol Pete by a score of 9-5. Unfortunately, the national championship for this one is essentially set. It's Osceola versus Harry and Uga.
We know.
But it's kind of cool to see. So, you look at Sparty. They had the first round bye, then they went through Nitro and Demon Deacon and Pistol Pete.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad.
Osceola and Renegade also had the first round bye. They went through Rocky of Toledo, Boomer Sooner, and Testudo. Goldie Gopher, sorry to bring this one up. They beat the Penn State Nittany Lion right off the bat first round. Then they beat Rocky of USF. And then they beat Ramses. And then Sebastian. So they're the first one to have. They're the only one that didn't have the first round bye that's still remaining.
Oh, okay.
And then Harry and Uga had the first round bye. Then they beat the Duke Dog, then Pounce, and then Mike the Tiger. So let's see if they can get through one more animal on their way to Chief Osceola. I have a feeling it's pretty safe.
Wow. Hey, we've come a long ways. And just so you know, it's not fixed, not rigged. North Carolina was knocked out.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Well, hey, Final Four is here. And unlike my guy says, it's not going to be Chief Osceola and just Harry Uga. Okay? There's going to be an underdog, an upset. Let's go, Sparty.
You're going against the one that's gotten the most sway the entire time. Osceola and Renegade have been the favorite the entire way. I don't expect that to change, unfortunately.
One thing I will say, though, we have Chief Osceola in the ACC. We have Harry Uga in the SEC, and we have 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four. Michigan State and Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, are still alive. So, hey, we'll see if they can hold out. But called out.
That's why Ramsey's lost out.
They did call me out. They did. I tried it. Oh, it's Uga's, a.k.a. Boom's rookie season this year. Oh, okay. Okay, nice. Yo, so stay tuned. We will definitely have some videos out. Continue to vote. And listen, if your team did not make it or if they got defeated, we will be running more tournaments so your team will have an opportunity to get in there. And then towards the season starting, we're going to have a couple tournaments for the winners and bring them together and see how things go. See what you guys he said it's me. I'm someone. Yeah, right. But yeah, you guys pick. And we appreciate you guys going this with us, man. When we first started it, we didn't know how much, back and forth we'd get, but you guys have definitely taken the time out to click the button and to help these teams move on. Not enough of you for Ramses, but it's okay. It's okay. They'll be back. All right.
Don't get Scott started on Truman.
Oh my God, Scott. They'll be in there, Scott. We might put them in twice for you. See if they have 2 times chance. If they lose, we can't help you.
I think we'll have to do a third bracket. So we'll start the next bracket, and then everyone that lost out in the first round of each bracket, throw them into a third bracket.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are close to the end of the show. And we haven't done this in a while, but we got a couple minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do this real quick. We're gutsy. We're guys that oh, wait a minute. There it is. We are gutsy. We're guys. we don't want for the tie. No, forget the tie. With games online, we're going for 2. That's right, Colin. You knew what we were doing.
Yes, sir, Colin.
You knew what we were doing. Hey, and stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. This week in Georgia football, we'll be back. My guys, Anthony Handy, Colin Pascal, they will be on the show doing big things, talking about Georgia. Will there be a 3-peat? Will Brock Bowers get the Heisman? That was another one. Yeah, he'll definitely be in that conversation. But yeah, stay tuned for all of that. But now we're going for 2. I will go first. Hug those that you're close to. We all know, we've talked about it multiple times. We come on here and do this type of stuff. A dear friend of the show, a dear friend of ours, Mr. Kyle Yacy, lost his father recently. And just on behalf of us, the LTF family, everybody, we just send our condolences to you, to your family, Kyle. Anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. But I say that to say, listen, you don't know the day, the time, or the hour. My fiance's dad just got, he's just getting out of the hospital tomorrow after having open heart surgery. And then they had a couple little small complications from it. And, it just makes you realize, man, certain situations, you're not out the woods. Certain situations, you wish you had that extra day, minute, hour, but you don't always get that. So hug the ones that you have close, reach out to your friends, and hey, you just never know what people are going through, man. So send out your love and prayers to our guy Kyle, and anybody else that might be going through something that maybe hasn't reached out and said anything to us, man. Alex, what you got, man?
Yeah, I'm right along there with you. I'm just taking the angle of nothing's promised.
Yes.
Nothing. It's not guaranteed you'll wake up in the morning. It's not guaranteed that you'll get the promotion at work you're looking for. It's not guaranteed that I'll bring it back to Mascot Madness. It's not guaranteed that Osceola will make the final the national championship there. So everything in life you got to work for, whether it's the next day, whether it's whatever it is. So and then right along with what you said, reach out to people, make sure the people that are important in your life know they're important, and just take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey guys, we appreciate you guys being in here. Let me see what this says. Colin said, the good Lord tends to reel you in every now and then. Prayers of comfort being sent to all in need. Absolutely. Definitely has our attention. But yeah, hey, we appreciate you guys being here with us. College football is 45 days away. And look, soon enough, there will be too many games for you to watch. I love it when there's a game on. Yeah, I love when there's a game on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
That action going.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
It is right around the corner. We are in the 11th day of July. So a little over a month and a half away. Excitement, baby. Excitement. Boy. Let's get it. So look, for me, boy Sean Spencer, my guy over here, Mr. Alex Luciano. Usman. Hey, we'll be back with you next time. Sorry I was late, but I had this guy. You know what? Scott, I don't know what we're gonna do with you, man.
Scott.
I don't know what we're gonna do with you, man. All right. Hey, we're heading out, people. Y'all take care. Have a good rest of the week. Watch our show, Tales by the Driver's Side, and tomorrow, NFL edition, and NSD on Friday, and have at it. Check out these shows. A lot of good stuff for you. You never have a day where you don't have something nice going on, man. So definitely tune in. All right, people. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.